And we are into Game 2 now of this series between xCet and YLTP. Game 1, a pretty solid stomp by xCet. Didn't take them very long to take out this YLTP team, as I think there were some issues all around. The draft wasn't great, the laning decisions weren't great, and the play once they got there also was a little sloppy, I think. But perhaps they'll be able to recover a little bit, learn from some things in Game 2, and come out with a win here, push this game to a third. As this is the round of 16 in Diamond Cycle 9, going way, way back, as obviously these games were played quite a long time ago, and even in a previous patch, and that's why the bans that are coming out right now might seem a little strange, but in fact they are not, because things have changed since this game was played, so the game we're seeing might not be the game you're used to, but it's still HoN, and that's what matters, damn it. Bans here, Warbeast and Scout by Cinelex. So once again, the suicides there, and obviously targeting Keizu. Scout, obviously a very common ban at this stage of the game, and it is not surprising to see bans targeted at Keizu. So two suicides being taken out there. Pew not helping his teammate, and also banning out Keeper of the Forest. So he will be having some issues coming up with Keizu here at this point. Skrinix is still available. Of course, Keizu played that hero last game. And there's, obviously plenty of suicides left. Pharaoh, a notable one, considering the Tempest pick for YLTP. I really wouldn't be surprised to see a Pharaoh selection here by PU for that suicide role. Hag actually comes out instead, and that is also a possibility. But bans, nothing too crazy to report.
Rhapsody.
But these picks are going super fast. So Legion's side picking up Tempest, Pebbles, and Rhapsody. Pebbles, Rhapsody lane very, very strong. This might be before Rhapsody was really a strongly considered, we're going to see this hero all the time type support. But YLTP apparently feeling like the no jungle strat of their last game did not suit them well. This time, first picking that Tempest. Tempest, I think, very strong hero. Very possibly above Ophelia. I play better Tempest because my micro's not that good, so there's probably some personal bias in there, as Ophelia does have a lot of strengths. A little bit better of a ganker than Tempest. Possibly a better pusher. It depends on how good you are and making sure you have the correct timing with the Tempest elementals. I don't really think she's a better team fighter, because even though Tempest ult is easy, relatively easy cancel and will get canceled a lot, a good one can win games. There's always a situation where you're like, oh, we're down by 20k gold in experience and half an hour in, but we got a Tempest, so we got a chance. Because you can hit that God hole and all of a sudden the game changes. But nonetheless, very strong pick here. Pebbles Rhapsody can be very powerful lane in middle, as Staccato Sun's, of course, extremely strong. Pebbles, of course, with the plenty of magic damage on top of that. So that's a strong kill lane, strong defensive lane, as Rhapsody should be able, for the most part, to prevent Pebbles from dying. And I'm really liking that mid. So YLTP here looking for a short laner on the carry, and looking for a suicide. xCet looking for somewhat similar roles here. Pestilence for mid, presumably, as he gets picked up quite often. That's a fast ban from Pew, man. Wretched Hag could be run in that solo short, or the suicide role could also be run in the mid, but I think with Pesty here, we will see Hag in one of those two roles. I slightly prefer her as a short laner just because I think there are much better suicide options. She certainly does do a good job in the suicide lane, but I don't think she's quite as powerful as other options, and she does do plenty well in the short lane to I think, put her in that role. Last pick over here in the initial picking stage for xCet will be Ophelia, as she managed to make it all the way through here. And Pew will once again be picking up that Ophelia. Very strong here, of course. Oph and Tempest, I think, no doubt, are the strongest junglers in the game at this point. And Parasite's a capable and able jungler, but I think a step below, just because he doesn't provide the push that both of those heroes do. He doesn't really provide much to team fight. He's perhaps a better ganker than Ophelia. I'm not convinced that he is. And certainly more burst damage than Oph, but whether or not that's the most helpful thing in the world, I'm not sure. He's, death to supports, but at some point you gotta stop killing supports and start killing heroes. If you have a Parasite with a really, really, really good start, then that can be a bit of an issue, but most of the time that does not happen. Speaking of more bans here, Master of Arms Slither and Corrupted Disciple are banned out from YLTP, so picking up a couple of short laners and as well as one support. Nothing surprising here. Corrupted Disciple was played by Nox last game, and he will not have access to this hero this time. But still plenty of short laners available. Gemini is up. Kronos is available. We haven't seen him too much. Dampier's on the board. Soul Stealer a possibility. You never know. Keizu's soft picking that dragon. And then, of course, they already have the Wretched Hag picked, so he could be also running that short lane. And as far as the supports go, way too many options available to really consider anything as a bad, you know, or consider them boxed into a corner here. Witch Slayer, Aluna, Empath, Nymphora, Torturer, Pyromancer, Glacius. I mean, there's too many options here. An Engineer, for that matter. Um, too many options here to think, oh, they don't have a support pick available. Pew taking his time with this last ban, actually using almost all of his reserve time here. It will be a Bubbles on top of Sandwraith and Moon Queen, so Pew figuring they don't have a short laner. We've got Hag that can run in that role. We're going to get rid of two of arguably the most powerful short laners in the game right now, and that's an interesting selection. So Pew is instead choosing to make sure that the short laners are banned. They don't want to let the opposing team be able to go late game, and they've pretty well accomplished that because Prisoner and Pebbles, usually both initiator type roles, both run in the mid lane very often. One of those heroes is going to have to go short. I'm going to expect it to be Pebbles. But it also means one of those heroes is not going to get a babysit support. And they really, I think, both thrive on dual lanes. These are two heroes that sort of need that partner there to help them get kills and boost their GPM. They're solid farmers by themselves if you want to just rice. But they like kills that are active. Those are both heroes that have a lot of early game damage, and they want to be active in the laning phase, and now one of them isn't going to be able to do that so much because Rhapsody can only support one lane at a time. And obviously neither of them suicide potential, really. I guess Prisoner you could hook the creeps back or something like that, but that's a huge waste of mana. He's not very fast. He has no stun other than that. The Shackle's not really a great immobilize. And they're acting like they want to repick that, and it's not going to happen because it's a replay, so we know this game was not remade. So it is going to be the Dragon here, and that's going to force Hag into the suicide role and Dragon onto Nox in the short lane. So we're looking for a support here on xCet, somebody to pair with Pestilence, and I suspect we'll see Torturer again. I know, Center clearly likes that hero, and he will pair well with Pestilence, both of them having AoE stuns, and certainly a lot of potential for kills there. Rhapsody Pesty, I think, is a superior lane, but obviously Rhapsody already picked up. Pyromancer, I think, Pyromancer and Witch Slayer are the other options really here for xCet, as they both have considerable lockdown, and they've definitely got stuns that are fairly easy to land, especially on top of the Pestilence Impale. And it will be a Grinix last pick here from YLTP, so that's going to get put in the hands of Majestics, their suicide player, and this is, I think, going to be... I don't even know. Engineer is the last pick, so that's not surprising either. I completely neglected to mention him because he's always so often picked. You almost never see an Engineer last pick because he's just never available for that long. But Tempest, Similex there saying no, they don't want to have the repick. And that's certainly their prerogative, but whatever. They don't care. No surprise here. KZ picks up that Hag, Dragon goes to the short lane, Zergo and Engineer are going to be in mid and Pew in the jungle, so lanes from Hellborn pretty easy to call. Similex does pick up that Pebbles, so I assume this is going to be a Pebbles Rhapsody dual lane. I like that. And Nighty is on the Prisoner, so why, I think, is my main question. I don't understand why you would pick a Prisoner to short lane here. Like, this makes little to no sense to me. It seems silly. It seems that they have no late game now. Their team fight's okay. Prisoner helps a little bit with that. Obviously, Tempest is is going to carry most of the weight in that regard. But it's like, I don't know why you would pick that over anything else. Like, Prisoner's not a carry, And he's sort of heading mid. I don't think that's going to stay the case. As Pebbles is in the bot jungle, or in the bot jungle. Well, this might stay the case. This might be a bot Pebbles wrap. As this is going to be even worse, I think, because against the Pesty Engineer lane, Prisoner's going to get nothing. And Keizu on this Hag down here in the suicide won't get too much either, actually, as Ophelia going to get caught out a little bit. Just take a couple of auto attacks. And we'll be able to back off. Staccato Stun is there. And Hook is available onto Prisoner, so he's going to look for the kill here onto Pew. And Pew looking for the dodge. There's the hook in though, and that's going to be a Bloodlust. So well done there to get Pew. Way too many audio attacks really coming out. And Smithix on Rhapsody will pick up the Bloodlust, so that's going to be instant boots for her. Always nice to have that on a support. Actually, no, going to buy a ward. And she did get the Ward of Rev, or Pew did get the Ward of Rev here in this camp to block out Tempest a little bit. That's one thing about Tempest. If you block his camps, he will get screwed. Like I said, I play a lot of support, and whenever I have a Tempest in their team, Rev wards, words of sight, they're all going into the opposing jungle. Because if you block, 4 of these camps, Tempest will do nothing. He will do nothing, 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 nothing. And it's been an insanely and hilariously effective strategy to watch Tempest just be like, I'm level 2 at 8 minutes into this game because I can't farm anything. He's not a hero that really wants to go in the aggressive jungle, as Hag's can really take a lot of damage here. Staccatos and Stalagmites there. And she's nearly dead, only has trees. Blink is on cooldown for quite a while here, and Rhapsody's looking for a kill, so Keizu having to eat through a bunch of trees here to get out of here. Will survive. Staccato is up, but it's not going to be enough, even if she did get it off. And Keizu in a bit of trouble. Only has 1 tree eater left, I think. Oh, 4, so she does have 2 sets of them. Drops the ward there, but is basically just going to have to leech experience in the bottom lane at this point. And we'll actually have to blink out before she gets stunned by anything. So Smithix on this Rhapsody doing a good job of keeping Keizu off the lane, and should result in some pretty easy free farm for Pebbles middle. Meanwhile, Nightiu in Prisoner actually has 200 GPM somehow. I think that's mostly from the Bloodlust, as he's only 2-0 compared to 4-2 on Pestilence. Now 5-2 actually. So part of that, of course, is because we're so early into the game, but expecting much better farm here on Pesty than we see on Prisoner, no doubt. Up top, meanwhile, Dragon go up against Grinix, and he should have a pretty easy time dealing with this. Grinix is a hero that can kill Dragon here, especially if he's allowed to get some harass on him with that Ripstock, and if he's allowed to get level 6 without getting forced out too much. So as long as Grinix hits 5 or 6 relatively close to this point at which Dragon does, and he uses that Ripstock relatively early on to put a bunch of harass, there's a Shadow Step back in. Actually doesn't take a tower hit there, so Dragon taking quite a lot of damage here. Nox is in a bit of trouble, but will not die. Activates the Blazing Flight and will then be okay. Returning some harass there. Eats a tree. So I have noticed, yes, and perhaps you have too, actually Stalagmite's coming out on bot as Hag has a DD rune. But she will live. I have noticed, yeah, there seem to be some frame drops here. Things are moving a little slow. I've got a bunch of stuff running in the background, and so we'll see how bad it is as it continues. If it continues to be a problem, then I'll stop some stuff and see what I can do to alleviate the problems, but for now I think it's mostly okay, especially before really a lot of team fights and engagements start in the laning phase. It's not that big a deal. As I have stuff rendering in the background, and I'd like to, the faster I can do it, the faster I can put stuff out, and that's good for everybody. As this is pretty much a one-man operation. So, looking at the lanes here up top, Nox on that Dragon has a 17-4 farm compared to Grinix at 8-0, so Grinix not doing too terribly, but Nox has pretty obvious control of the lane. Meanwhile, in middle, we've got jumps in here, and man, you are in so much trouble. Oh crap, what the hell's that? You are in so much trouble here, Prisoner, and he will die. So obviously on the Bloodlust, as Pew already gave that up, but Nightiu will fall in the mid lane. Just unable to do anything. No escape mechanism, no stun, no real slow. The shackle is kind of annoying, but it's not that big a deal. And just got body blocked by the creeps and Zergo on that Pestilence, so very nice play for them, but also, like, what's he going to do in this lane? Like, he's either going to come up with the creep wave, try to get CS, of which he has 2, and then die, or he's going to sit in the back and not get a lot of levels because he's just everything's getting denied like crazy. So I don't much see the point of the prisoner here. Nighty is usually the carry player here for YLTP, so under normal circumstances you'd think as a hasted hag is coming in but will not actually do anything. Under normal circumstances you'd think, oh, he'll get the priority farm, he's the one that's going to be the carry, and that's clearly not the case here, as Senelix on this Pebbles is obviously being the prioritized. But, not really feeling it here. Meanwhile, in mid anyway, so 24 and 12 on Zergo compared to the 4 and 0 for Prisoner, so no question this mid lane being won by the Hellborn side. Bot, Hag has just 3 CS and 1 deny compared to the 28 and 10 of Pebbles, so Pebbles out-CSing everybody in the game, and certainly should be doing so, as Rhapsody had great box outs for him. Now, there is a slight experience lead here for the Legion side, and they're only down by about 200 gold, so despite the fact that they're losing both mid and top, you look at the junglers here, 300 gold per minute on Tempest, 222 on Ophelia, so that's really where Tempest shines, is he's much better at actually farming the jungle than Ophelia is, because, you know, the conversion gives him an automatic creep kill, and Ophelia's command doesn't, and she, most of the time, she takes over the biggest unit, so that's a lot of gold lost, because you're not going to be able to kill many of those big units, you're killing the little ones, and not that fast, might I add. So Tempest's going to be able to do much better in terms of farm than Ophelia will, and as a result, Legion side is staying in this, in the early game. So 2 lanes down, but the jungle is being won by them, and that's a pretty big deal. Tempest is level 6 here, probably looking for a hook on Prisoner. And trying to get a kill on this Pestilence here. He is somewhat alone, as Sender on Engineer has put a ward in the river. And with Rhapsody being absent from bot lane, Kazu's going to be able to pick up some stuff here. He's still sitting at only 100 GPM, but Soda Scream there going to help him out. 130 all of a sudden. And with no Rhapsody here, he should be relatively okay in terms of safety and being able to take CS. Bot Room, meanwhile, is an invis, and she will bottle that, so that's going to be nice there. And now Hag will sit mid, perhaps looking for a counter here. Tempest has gone back into the jungle, not finding an opportunity to drop his ult or get a gank off in general. And Hag doing much the same thing, looking for an initiation here, but Prisoner staying way too far back to let that happen. Up top, Ophelia going to help push this lane down, and this should be a relatively easy tower kill up here. Creep wave is coming in, but not going to be nearly in time. And then back on Grenix off, making sure he's not going to get anything there. Now cleaning up this wave, and perhaps going for a secondary tower kill, so Legion might have to do something about this relatively soon. As Ophelia's got a couple of minions and a Hell Cannon, which will be able to assist in the push here. Grenix trying to pull the creeps off the tower a little bit, and force Ophelia's minions to tank them. But, oh, that Catman actually doesn't get, for some reason it changes the tower focus. So Rhapsody will come up here and defend, along with Tempest and Prisoner, of course, acting like they're going to come up there, and this top secondary will be defended successfully. Grenix going to be able to use this now to pick up some CS, and as the lane's well pushed in. And I suspect Dragon will head into the jungle and use his Blazing Flight and Fireballs to get some CS there. Impale Stun goes off in middle, but not going to be too much else. Bugs are, of course, on that Prisoner. And Halvor now taking a pretty substantial gold lead as a result of that tower kill, but the experience going well in favor of Legion. As Tempest just continues to freeform that jungle. Drop down to about 280 gold per minute now as he spent some time looking for a Gax, who was headed top to try to defend, but does not. And as a result, Ophelia has caught up a little bit at 256 gold per minute. More importantly, of course, the win in mid and the win in top, resulting in much more advantageous farm for the Legion side. As I make sure the bugs are staying on Prisoner here, and it should be wearing off relatively soon, 4 seconds. So Zergo going to look to reapply the bugs. Prisoner hook comes in, doesn't actually hit anything, but will get a couple of CS out of it. And he has no mana now. Oaf looking for a push on mid, bring a couple of creeps in here. And a red ward goes down too, trying to make sure the Grenix can't gank them. As he will be heading down from top.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn
Bot tower falling to Pebbles and Tempest, but this is definitely going to be a mid-tower push. Grenix can come in here. There is a Rev Ward though, so he needs to be careful about exactly what he does. There's a Rift Stock, but he's, like I said, sitting right on top of the Rev Ward. And they're going to be able to see him, because he's going to get, nope, just being able to get through the trees, so... Nothing doing there in terms of a Grenix kill, but the mid tower does fall. That's now 2 for 1 towers in exchange in favor of the Hellborn. Dragon with another Hell Cannon, a pretty substantial creep wave up here, will use the Blazing Flight to quickly clean up the creep wave, and he's got a Sustainer here, so he's going for a Nullstone. It's kind of hilarious that we never see Nullstone except for on Draconis. Legion side will respond to this, but it's still going to be quite a lot of damage on this top tower. As Prisoner's coming in for a bit of defense. And I think despite all this, this is going to be deniable. One more auto attack from the cannon. Yep, so this is deniable top tower, and it will be denied by Prisoner. So good deny there, but nonetheless a pretty solid outcome here for the Hellborn side, as the tower is in fact killed. Dragon perhaps in a bit of trouble, as there's a Shadow Step in, but nice portal key from Zergo stops the initiation from Prisoner actually. And their Dragon Flame will help finish off Night EU, as Prisoner will die. Now Pebbles looking for it, but not going to find anything. Pebbles also as the proud owner of the portal key. And Zergo picks up double tap. So 3-1 hero kill near now. And jump onto Rhapsody, puts the bugs down, but of course not wanting to take Staccato stuns, so he will just back off. Ancient's going to be taken here by Pew and NG. Relatively easy to pick them off. Agon bot finally getting some free farm time, as Pebbles has left the lane. 240 gold per minute here, so decent recovery. So far, as Keizu hasn't died, no kills, no kill involvement. Triple stacked Ancients here are available for the Hellborn side. As soon as somebody comes to take them, I presume that will be the Draconis. He is relatively adept at cleaning up Ancients. And there goes a ward there, as Sender manages to counter. Pebbles heading back to bot to pick up some more farm here. And, you know, this is one of the issues with the side lane Pebbles. They tend to turn into farmers, and Pebbles, like, once he's got his portal key, he's a ganker. Like, he shouldn't be taking this farm here. Somebody else should get it. I'm not really sure who, but because there's no carry here, really. As Dragon and Engie here are cleaning up these Ancients. Like I said, so I'm not really sure who, but it should be not him, feels like. Mid push going to happen here as Tempest Elementals are coming in on top of Prisoner. Grenix and Rhapsody here also available. Jump going to be in here on Hag, as she immediately gets sackled, and bam. Just, that's one of the problems with the Hag, of course, is Shackle says no blink. Dance Floor going down here on top of the Tempest Elemental, so strong push from the Legion side, and this should be a tower kill in mid. And no question it will be. Hellborn not choosing to defend, really. Up top, actually, Zero pushing into the base, and will force 3 TPs out. Will have the flight away, and Stalagmite's not having quite enough range. Bugs go on to Pebbles, and Zergo will be able to get away, so pushing into the base here up on top. Base tower taking some damage from both him and the Hell Cannon. And Hellborn having or Legion having a pretty severe response to it, really. Hag has 265 gold per minute, so I think she must have something, either in the stash or on the courier. Nothing on the courier, but I guess 228 gold per minute. Grave Locket and Steam Boots. She should, and Bottle. She had a Bottle. I don't know what the hell happened to it. Maybe she sold it? I know she bottled an Invis Rune earlier, so maybe she just picked it up. I thought she bottled it. Maybe not. So Grenix gonna find Hag here, but probably almost certainly won't get a kill. Needs some more support in order to do that. Will instead clean up the CS down here. And Zudonic, so this Tempest has done extremely well, but look at that Dragon, man. 558 gold per minute, helping to clean up these stacks here in the jungle. Wild Hunter's, of course, not affected by the fireballs, but Minotaurs certainly are. Meanwhile, on bot, Grenix coming in will have the bugs on him, so there's a death, plus the Impale Stun onto Pebbles, and now he's in a ton of trouble. Tempest coming in here looking for the ultimate, but not quite going to find it. Now Pebbles in a ton of trouble. Avoids the hook, actually, as he gets thrown in the end in the air. Glacial Blasts are on him, but he also doesn't get hit by the Prisoner ult. So that's some pretty awful miscommunication by the Legion side, as the Chuck from Pebbles actually saved Prisoner. Pebbles still has the bugs on him, and Sergio's looking for a jump. He wants it so bad. But there goes the shackle on him, and it's not going to happen. In fact, they have vision. There's the hook on top of the Cicados, and this is going to go into a Glacial Stun, and this is going to be a dead Pesty. There's Shadow Step, and Majestics will finish him off, so nice play there from Majestics jumping into the port. And Zergo diving pretty deep there. They're up, now 4-3 in hero kills. They were up 4-2, of course, but the resources, I don't think, quite at the point where they can do that yet. Maybe they are. I mean, Dragon has 571. Oh, that's gold per minute. I thought it was experience per minute for a second. I'm like, nope, that's GPM. He's got 570 GPM. Okay, so maybe they just don't care, and that's probably not a terrible position to take here. They're up 5k gold in experience. We're not even 15 minutes into the game, and they already have a 1-game lead too, so they can be a little more reckless, I think, at this point. Tempest's going to start farming the jungle here, but will port away back to base. And there's 3 heroes from the Hellborn side up here to clean these tripled Ancients. Dragon going to take most of that, as he definitely has something saved up, because he's got 1,000 gold on himself right now and only a Nullstone finish, which he's had for a bit. So he's definitely got something. Nothing. Courier has nothing. What is it, Nox? Is it a Shrunken? It's probably a Shrunken. There's a Mighty Blade. Maybe he doesn't have anything. That'd be a little surprising. Like a 15-minute Nullstone, something to, be like, oh, I only have a Nullstone. It's a 5,200 gold item. Right? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Just feel like he should have a little more here. So bot tower will go down, no question, as all 5 heroes are grouped up here in favor of the Hellborn side. And they're looking for yet some more pushing going on. Legion take top Shrilling Tower, so they'll trade here, and then you're going to have to mass port back to base. But instead of doing that, Zudonix here on this Tempest has a port. Not porting yet. There it is, finally. And bot's secondary tower now taking a whole bunch of damage thanks to Dragon and Ophelia, and this is going to be another tower kill. It's going to get put in deny range by this cannon. Legion side throwing a bunch down. There goes the hook onto Engineer, but he's inside the energy field. Nice Impale Stun. Excellent Rhapsody ultimate. Going to immediately stop. Elemental Void also stop immediately. Night Eve falling on top of Sender. So we have a 1-for-1 exchange so far here. Rhapsody Stun's going out onto Pestilence, but he's going to be able to get the Impale onto Grenix, but the Rift Stock is out. Dragon doing a bunch with the Dragon Flame there, and HoN is actually off onto Grenix, so he might die here, but Tempest definitely will. HoN's not going to be enough to finish off Grenix, but that's a 2-for-1 there in favor of Hellborn, as they lose only the Engineer, who already dropped his energy field, so that doesn't matter. They're not going to choose to push the base here. Probably not a bad decision, as they still have a strong push here, but at 17 minutes in the game, you really don't want to start pressing your luck like that. Dragon is going to clean up his top farm, 640 gold per minute. Just look at that. Like, Tempest and Pebbles aren't farming that badly, but they look like they are. And for good measure, you have Hag at 260 GPM. She's got 1,000 gold saved up and must have something. I guess she bought the vestments too, but I don't know. I keep feeling like these heroes have to have something. Now I know Dragon has something else. Because he had 1,000 gold before. And he had the Mighty Blade before. I know he's got something else. Perhaps he's waiting for 10 gold for that, or 30 gold or whatever for that recipe for the shrunken head. It's actually Keizu gets picked off in the mid lane. Just a jump from Pebbles and Grenix, and there's the Straub on top of the Cicado Suns. So, a little too much burst damage there from Keizu, despite the missed investments. She is still relatively squishy, so there's the Shrunken finished up on Dragon. As I was right, he had the Warhammer. I was finally right about something. On bot, meanwhile, Illusion's getting taken out by Prisoner. Over here, looking for a port out, is Engineer. Not wanting to fight up against this Pebbles for good reason. He will die very, very quickly. Gonna come bot and start to clean up this creep wave, as Dragon will take these doubled ancients, will triple them first and then kill them. Turret thrown out there from Engineer. Won't stop the stack though. Blazing Plate active. There goes the knockback, and man, he just eats all this CS. So Nox once again just the farm vaults up to 650 gold per minute, and it's hilarious to look at that bar graph and be like, haha. Kong, we're gonna be attempted here. Should go down relatively easily. Now there is vision here in the river, so Leech know this is happening. Can they do anything about it? Not sure. Tempest Ultimate isn't quite up yet. 14 seconds, so it's possible they want to fight this. Every other ult is available for the Legion side, so... Nope, not going to choose to do so. He's going down way too fast and doing about it. Will instead take these Ancients over here with Rhapsody and Pebbles. Conger will fall in favor of the Hellborn. And that's going to be a token on Dragon. So now he's going to be that much harder to kill. He's got a Shrunken, he's got a Nullstone, and now he has a token. So good luck putting anything on him. Man, I want that DJ Rhapsody ult so bad. And as a result of that Congo kill, it looks like Hellborn will push in middle. Dragon once again cleaning up all the CS as the rest of his team hangs back for support. And like, if you want to jump on somebody, it's going to have to be him. Hag now poking forward a little bit too. And she won't really die to the Pebbles combo. 1200 health plus the Vestments means that it's not going to be that big a danger. But actually, DD Rune on Dragon gets popped.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
And these creeps will be cleaned up. So we'll see if that continues the push, or no, it looks like it's going to stop. Dragon will instead head into the woods. Clean up some CS there. Legion Ancients will be killed. So they get stacked first, and then they'll be killed. As Engineer takes out one with a turret and a couple auto attacks. P, you're going to clean up the rest of them, I think. Up top, meanwhile, Rhapsody and Pebbles in a little bit of trouble, as Zergo's looking for the engagement, won't find it though. And pretty much the entire Hellborn team going to back off. Wretched Hag the only one left, but she will not be initiated on as Pebbles is a little too far away. So going to hit the observatory, grab a mana pot, and leave herself. So good control. They're taking the Ancients, taking the jungle, pushing the lanes in, boxing the Legion side into their base, not letting them farm. And as a result, you can see both Pebbles and Tempest dropping on the GPM chart a little bit there. And there's a portal key on the Prisoner. So items here for the Legion side. Pebbles is working on his Shrunken. Already has that PK. Rhapsody has basically nothing, just Striders and a Word of Rev and a Teleport. Now, Prisoner, the proud owner of a portal key, so presumably going to use that to jump in and throw his ult down. On top of a Blood Chalice and Steam Boots. Grinix has a Warhammer, so that's looking like it's going to be a Shrunken Head. It could also be a Shield Breaker, we'll see. Hook there onto Dragon, but he's just like, bye. Puts the Blazing Flight down and says no. I think we're looking for the Shackle to dispel that Nullstone. so that their stuns and positioning things can hit, and that's probably the right spell to lose. Hook there in onto Pebble, or Hag, and she's just barely going to live there. Nice ultimate from Rhapsody, stopping everything. She will die on Hag, so Casey falls immediately. Ultimate from Pressure coming out, but the Golden Dragons doesn't really care. Night EU falls just about immediately. Smithwick's also going down as Rhapsody does tend to immediately die to an ulted dragon. And this is going to be a dead base tower here, and very possibly Rax. No buyback available on Night EU. Grenix here looking for an engagement, but of course the token is still available for Draconis, and actually Grenix going to fall right here as he gets right over a Rev Ward. Pebble's in a little bit of trouble, will take some auto attacks. Tempest is in the background, jumps away actually as he also has a portal key. He already used his ultimate, was pretty much immediately cancelled because I didn't even see it go off. It's a giant team fight. And Glyph will go off, slow him down a little bit. Pebble's looking for the jump here onto Dragon, but actually the chuck goes on Pesty as the Dragon gets tableted away now. Tempest looking for some more ways to stop this, but it's not going to happen. These racks are definitely going to go down. Hook thrown out there, not going to be enough. As KZU did actually buy back. Nice port off, though, by Ophelia. And that's a dead mid lane for this in favor of Hellborn. And there's GG's once again. So both games go into less than 25 minutes, as it's pretty clear that in both instances, xCet just outplayed YLTP. The drafts from YLTP, I think, in both situations were weird. The laning decisions were weird, and they didn't really win their lane. So when you combo those three things together, it's not that surprising when you lose a game in less than 25 minutes. So this series will go 0-2 to xCet, who will move on to the round of 8. Of course, YLTP will be dropped down to the loser's bracket, where they'll have to fight their way through, with the possibility of elimination looming in every series. So that's going to be it for this series, and we'll see you for the next round of 16 match, which is something else. I don't remember what it was, so it's all on YouTube. Who cares? So that's it.